Hello, good morning or good evening whenever you are watching this. I hope you are doing well. My name is Catherine, and today we are talking about my most anticipated releases for the first quarter of 2023. There are so many books that I'm excited for in 2023. Today I'm going to be talking about the books that I'm excited for that are being released January, February, and March. I am going to be talking about them in month release order, so I'll be starting with January. One of my 2023 goals is to get back into reading fantasy a lot more, so you'll probably notice quite a few fantasies on here, as well as my usual romances. Without further ado, let's get into it. Starting off with the January releases. There are a lot of books being released on January 3rd, which is today, if I upload this video on the day that I expect to upload it. First is Back in a Spell by Lana Harper. This is the third book in the series related to Payback's a Witch, which is a queer contemporary fantasy romance series. This follows Nina, who is one of the Blackmoor witches, and Monty, who we've met a couple times. They are one of the co-owners of what is called the Shamrock Cauldron, which is one of the local pubs. It sounds chaotic. It sounds really fun. I'm very excited to read it. Also on January 3rd is Highly Suspicious and Unfairly Cute, which is Talia Hibbert's first YA book. I love Talia Hibbert's books. She is also the author of the Brown Sisters trilogy, so I'm excited to read her YA book. It'll be a lot of fun seeing her branch out into the genre. This follows two ex-best friends as they accidentally end up in the same wilderness survival course. As they rekindle their friendship, something else might be kindled as well. Might I say romance? Possibly. Definitely. Then we have a couple YA fantasies coming out. Firstly is Stolen Heir by Holly Black. This book continues in the world of The Cruel Prince. It is going to be a sequel, I believe, trilogy to that series, or companion trilogy, and it follows Oak, who is Jude's younger brother, and there's some other things that we discover about Oak in the Cruel Prince trilogy that I don't want to spoil for you if you haven't read the book. I'm so excited, and it's going to be a couple years into the future from when we last saw Jude and Carden. Then is Vamps by Nicole Arnett. This is a book that takes place at a vampire academy, and our main character is half vampire, half human. I don't really know how that works, but it'll be interesting to read about. Finally, on January 3rd is Song of Silver, Flame-like Night. This is by Amelie Wenzhou. It is another YA fantasy, and it is based in Chinese mythology and folklore, which will be really interesting to read about. Also, beautiful cover, just stunning. On January 10th, we have the sequel to Ninth House by Leigh Bardugo, Hellbent, coming out. I'm so excited for this book. I am going to the book release here in LA, and I'm gonna be seeing Leigh Bardugo again. I'm so excited to meet her again. Hopefully I don't sound like an idiot this time when I talk to her. I know that I sounded so stupid. It'll be fine. I'm hoping she doesn't remember me, but she might. This is also the release day of Emily Wilde's Encyclopedia of Fairies. This is going to be an adult fantasy book that I'm really excited about. It sounds really interesting. It is about Emily, who is writing an encyclopedia of fairies, but she also runs into an academic rival in the small town that she is visiting. Something happens. Also, there's something more to him than meets the eye. Sounds intriguing. Can't wait. Last on January 10th is X's and O's by Amy Lee. This is the sequel to Set It Up, a book that I really enjoyed. It's a contemporary romance. This one will follow the sister to the main character in our first one, Tara, who is a bookstagrammer. What? How fun. She has had terrible luck in love. She has 10 exes, and she convinces her new roommate, who is also a very hot firefighter, to help her reunite with her exes to try and start a second chance romance. We all know how this is going to end. We all know she's going to end up with the hot firefighter. Can't wait to see the journey of her getting there. On January 17th, we have The Fraud Squad. This book, it's a YA contemporary, and it's giving me kind of Gossip Girl vibes. Also on January 17th is Glitterland by Alexis Hall. This is actually a re-release of a book that they wrote a while ago, but it's been re-edited and reformatted and everything. It's about a pulp crime fiction writer and a aspiring model. sounds like a lot of fun. Also kind of sounds like it might make me cry. On January 24th, we have the fourth and final book in Joanna Shupe's The Fifth Avenue Rebels series called The Duke Gets Even. We finally find out what happened between Nellie and the Duke of Lachlan. There has been allusions to this happening throughout the entire series. What happened between them? What happened? What's going on? On the 23rd, we have Sorry Bro. This is by Talene Vascuni. I don't love the title of this book, but it sounds really interesting. It is a contemporary FF romance. Follows Nar, who just broke up with her boyfriend and is trying to get more in touch with her Armenian roots. And along the way, she meets Erbuni and things happen. Sounds really cute. The last book in January I'll be talking about is The Davenports. This is a YA historical. This book is actually inspired by a real African-American family in the 1910s. It tells the story of one of the few wealthy Black families of that time period. It specifically follows the two daughters and two of their friends. Moving into February. On February 2nd, we have The Worst Woman in London by Julia Bennett. This is a historical romance, and it's a book that I'm either really gonna love or really gonna hate. We'll see. It is about a rebellious Victorian woman who might accidentally fall in love with the guy who is supposed to be returning her after she runs away and tries to file for divorce and all this stuff to her awful husband. Romance and chaos ensues. There's quite a few books coming out on February 7th that I'm excited about. First being Not Your Ex's Hexes. This is the sequel to Not the Witch You Wed. This is by April Asher. It is a fantasy contemporary romance. Follows Rose, who is supposed to be the next Prima, as she tries to figure out what she's doing with her life, and Damien, who is a half demon and also a veterinarian. Also on February 7th is the next installment of the Dark Olympus series by Katie Robert. This is Radiant Sin, and it is following Apollo and Cassandra. From what I've heard of this one, this is where you really start to have to read all the books in order to really understand what is going on, as all of the books are starting to become a lot more interconnected. Another mythology retelling coming out on February 7th is Stone Blind by Natalie Haynes. It tells the story of Medusa. I'm really excited for this because Natalie Haynes is a classicist, so she is really studied the Greek mythology, so it's going to be really based on the original myths, but from Medusa's viewpoint. On February 14th will be Take the Lead by Alexis Daria. This is another book that is a re-release. The setting is basically a show that's like Dancing with the Stars. He's the dancer, the one that teaches the star how to dance. He is on an Alaskan wilderness survival show type deal. Sounds really good. February 21st is The Shadow of Perseus by Claire Haywood. This really is the month of Medusa. This one retells the myth of Perseus, but from the women in his story, so his mother Danae, Medusa, and of course Andromeda. On February 23rd, How to Marry the Marble Marquess by C.M. Nacosta comes out. This is a monster Regency romance, which there's quite a few of coming out this next year that I'm very excited about. He's a gargoyle. She needs help finding a suitable match at the monsters' ball. We all know what happens. They fall for each other. Can't wait to see how it happens. On February 28th, The Neighbor Favor by Christina Forrest comes out. This is a contemporary romance. She needs a date to her sister's wedding. She gets her neighbor to help her find a date. Little does she know, he is also the author of her favorite book that she's been emailing for a while. We all know what happens. They fall for each other. Can't wait to see how that happens. There's actually quite a few books like this coming out this year. Can't wait. Love it. Last book in February I'm going to be talking about is The Day of Fallen Night by Samantha Shannon. This is the prequel to Priory of the Orange Tree. I'm also going to try and read Priory of the Orange Tree this year. I'm scared. It's a big book, but I know that I can read it. I can do it. Moving into books coming out in March. There are so many books coming out March 7th that I am so excited for. First is Something Wild and Wonderful by Anita Kelly. It's a contemporary male-male romance. They meet on the Pacific Crest Trail. Can't wait. A Witch's Guide to Fake Dating a Demon by Sarah Haley. A fantasy contemporary romance. She accidentally summons a demon. he's here to take her soul, and she's like, I'm gonna use this to my advantage. The Portrait of a Duchess by Scarlett Peckham. It is a historical. Two of them have been married for 20 years in secret that nobody knows about. Now it's back to bite them in the butt for a multitude of reasons. So again, sounds a little chaotic. Can't wait. The Secret Lives of Country Gentlemen by K.J. Charles. It's a historical male-male romance. It is described as following a newly promoted baronet and an overworked smuggler. Sounds fun. Sounds adorable. The Foxglove King by Hannah F. Whitten is a fantasy following our character Lore, who escaped a cult like 10 years ago, and now I think she's being taken back to the world of Fae. I don't know, some kingdom. It sounds interesting. I don't know how to describe it though, but I can't wait to read it. The Adventures of Amina Al-Sarafi. This is by Shannon Cherubaki. I haven't read any of her books yet. I keep meaning to though. But this one involves pirates, and that sounds fantastic. I love any book following pirates. Finally, on March 7th, yes, all of these are coming out March 7th. The Mimicking of Known Success by Mika Ann Older. This is a sapphic sci-fi mystery. It's described as a cozy Holmesian murder mystery that's set on Jupiter. So sounds really cool. On March 14th, we have Love and Other Flight Delays by Denise Williams. This is a collection of novellas that she's released earlier, but they're all on ebook. And they all take place at an airport because, you know, who hasn't seen someone their age who's also traveling by themselves at an airport and been like, we could have a romance right here, you and me. You know? Who hasn't? Flower Heart by Catherine Bakewell also comes out on March 14th. This is a YA fantasy that attracted me for the cover alone, because look at that cover. It is gorgeous. Our main character needs to learn how to control her powers. One touch from her can make poison flowers grow, and that is a problem. The Witch and the Vampire by Francesca Flores comes out on March 21st. This is another YA fantasy. Queer Rapunzel retelling. And again, the cover is just stunning. Future King by Robin Snyder also comes out on March 21st. It's a YA fantasy and the sequel to The Other Merlin, which is a book that I read last year. I can say that. I finished it yesterday. This is my last book of the year. It's a very cute Merlin retelling. Not Merlin retelling. King Arthur retelling. Everyone's queer in it. It's great. The first book in Sophie Jordan's new The Scandalous Ladies of London series called The Countess comes out on March 28th. This is a historical romance that sounds a little messy. It's an age gap romance, and she has an affair with one of her daughter's suitors. Last, but most certainly not least, on March 28th, The Gargoyle's Captive by Katie Robert comes out. I'm so excited for this book. She gets auctioned off to a gargoyle and then like accidentally falls in love with him. Cannot wait. Sounds great. So much fun. All right, so those are my most anticipated releases for this first quarter of 2023. Still can't believe it's 2023. That is wild. Let me know down below what books you're excited for this year. There are so many incredible books, and I want to read them all, even though I know I can't read them all. If you like this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up. If you want to see more videos like this, go ahead and hit subscribe. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day, and until next time, bye!